This episode is brought to you by our proud sponsors, Rams On Demand, the best Rams forum on the internet, Seat Giant. You can save 3% off of all tickets today by using our promo code DTR, and Throwback Joe. It's as real as it gets. Now enjoy the show.
Juggles, caught. Oh, touchdown.
Sets up inside a little forced to fumble on the turf.
Everett. Goes deep. Touchdown to Willie Anderson. And he doesn't even stop. He's headed for the locker room. The Rams win it.
To Marshall. Fall to the 20. Fall at the 10. He's going to score.
Ferragamo with a lot of time. Phil Olsen, number 72. The first one don't get you, the other one will. Merlin kind of slowed him up back in the backfield. 10, Gabriel going deep for Maslowski. Touchdown. Here's the pitch to Dickerson outside to the left. He cuts it back into the end zone for the score. Adjusting for it is Isaac Bruce. And Isaac Bruce threads his way for a touchdown.
Steven Jackson in the end zone. Game over.
It is caught by Dyson. Can he get in? No, he cannot. Mike Jones made the tackle. And the Rams have won the Super Bowl.
Welcome back to the Downtown Rams podcast, Throwback Thursday Edition. This is the third Throwback Thursday episode, and I'm joined here by former Rams first-round pick, Jimmy Kennedy. How's it going, man?
What's going on with you, man? I'm enjoying myself. How are you?
Enjoying myself. I appreciate you taking the time. It means a lot.
Of course, anytime.
So, first, I want to start off because it's kind of like a, what are you up to now, but also kind of a story for people who may not know you that listen to my show. What made you want to play in the NFL, and even before that, what made you choose Penn State?
Oh, you know what? I was actually a poor kid from Yonkers, so my mom I'm the oldest of three boys. My mom was struggling and stuff, to take care of us and stuff. And when you're around the wrong people, you tend to start doing the wrong things. So, I was in the streets doing, selling drugs and being a knucklehead. And the high school football coach was the gym teacher, and he was my gym teacher. And he caught me, selling drugs and stuff, and he told me that I was wasting my talent. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you need to join my football team. You're a great basketball player. What are you doing? You're wasting your talent. And I was like, you know what? I don't even know if my heart's not into football or anything else. And then he was just like, I'm telling you, it's your ticket out of the project. So, I said, let me give it a try. I went out there, tried out for the team, made the team and so on. Had a solid guy worked into the rotation on right offensive tackle. And when the off season came about, he had the University of Pittsburgh came in to look at other players on the team. And I was in the gym playing basketball and stuff like that. So he had me doing windmill dunks and a bunch of stuff. And the University of Pittsburgh said, if you take this serious, you got a scholarship to be, a Panther. I was like, what? All right, cool. So that was going into my sophomore year of high school. And, long story short, I took football serious, got into it, started watching film, started training, because I wanted to get out, I wanted to get out the project. I wanted to make something of my life. I wanted to get my college degree and so on. And then things started going better than I expected. Before you know it, I was getting recruited by, 200 colleges and so on. I had fun at different universities and stuff, and good visits, bad visits, and so on. And I was getting overwhelmed. And, when you talk to your grandma, most of the time they're the most spiritual ones in your family. My grandmother told me, she said, just pray on it. So then I prayed on it, and I never took a visit to Penn State and there was a bunch of schools and stuff that was, playing, and a bunch of visits and stuff that I was going, a bunch of unofficial visits that I was taking, sophomore, junior, senior year, and so on. And I went to my uncle, ended up getting pneumonia, and I ended up going to the hospital, seeing him and so on. And next thing you know, Penn State was getting destroyed by Florida in the bowl game. Fred Taylor was running all over him. Kurt Enos just had the suspension and so on. And my uncle looked up, and after I just was praying for God to send me a sign on where to go, my uncle looked up, obviously it's like a few weeks later, and he said, "Are they recruiting you?" I said, "Yeah, both of them recruited me." I said, "Florida's looking real good." He said, "You should go there." And I was just like, yeah, Steve Spurrier, great coach. He was like, "Nah, you should go to Penn State. They need you." And I called and committed and never took a visit.
That's awesome.
So that's how I ended up getting there. Yeah, so that's how I ended up getting there. And the best decision of my life.
That's honestly fantastic. I love that story. That's just so, no one has that story. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's that's such a personal thing. My friend just went to Penn State this year, and he's, we're just from upstate New York, and I don't even know what made him want to, but he just, he ventured out there. It seems like a fantastic school. Obviously putting in tons of talent into this next level of players. But
you know what it was when I got there. I was like I said, I was a knucklehead. So when I went there, I was a team player. But like for example, I was a better offensive tackle than defensive tackle. But when I went there, I was like, you know what? If our offense sucks, at least I have like 5-10 tackles and a sack or something like that, and so on. So I went into college with not a selfish mentality, but I wanted to turn pro. I wanted to save my family. I wanted to, do the right thing and, get on the right track and so on, and make sure I got my family out of the project. But when I got there, Coach Paterno, I was selling bootleg movies and, CDs and all types of stuff, just because my family was poor, and then Coach Paterno pulled me to the side. We had a long heart-to-heart talk. And he was just like, first off, you committing a crime. Second off, you gotta, you're gonna mess your future up and so on. And, and he was like, I got more doctors, lawyers, brain surgeons than football. What happened? The NFL career lasts, for some 3 years. What happened if you blow your knee? What are you gonna do? Focus on your college degree and so on. And that's what I started doing. I just went in there. I went in there as a partial qualifier and graduated, went to grad school and so on. It was awesome.
No, that's really cool. And honestly, it's a fantastic story. I know some people don't like talking about their past and whatnot, but you seem to really, take hold of it. And it seems to me like, you're out there like, don't make the same mistake I did, but also keep in mind, like, I also learned from it and I went on to go to the NFL, but you're saying it in a humble way. So, props to you, man.
And you know what it is? I always say we're products of our environment. You know what I'm saying? I always say when I talk to kids and so on, I let them know gangsters don't want to be gangsters. It's a way of life. If you watch every gangster movie or whatever the case may be, the plot is always the fact that they're trying to get enough money to retire, to get somewhere, to change their environment and so on. Most of them don't make it because, jail and so on, or murder or whatever the case may be and so on. But what happens is, because of their environment, because of what their life is and so on, they're just like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. And next thing you know, they're caught up in it, and they're either getting killed, murdered. Some people make it. Some people have a story like me. Some people are rappers. Some people are singers. Some people play basketball. Some people, get scholarships and go to college and do, some amazing things. So it's not just about the today, the right now. It's actually about focusing on your future and so on. I remember when I was 14 years old was when I was talking to my coach, and I really said, ninth grade, I really have to take this serious. I did 5 years in high school. My first ninth grade year, I was selling so much drugs that I had incomplete. I failed classes. I was never turning in work. I was never going to class, and so on. And next thing you know, I talked to my head school coach. He convinced me to join the football team, which helps me with structure, discipline. I had to embrace change, conform into the team and so on, and then it was like, let me make sure that I didn't let my teammates down. I didn't let my friends down. I know they was counting on me, and then he put things into perspective, because no one goes into high school thinking about all these grades are going to count for me to get into college. You go in like, all right, I got to decide, just like we do in college. You go in there undecided what you want to be. You go in there, all right, I'm going to take these courses and so on. But before you know it, you're in year 3, going into year 3, and you got to pick what's your major and everything else. That undecided ain't going to, last forever,
Man, is that not the truth?
Yeah.
No, so, I mean, absolutely. I totally agree with that. But, this story obviously, it propels you into the NFL, and, you were obviously with the Rams, and you were drafted by the Rams, your first-round pick. Before we get into that, take me through that feeling, draft day. I mean, I don't get to talk to many first-round picks, so how was that feeling, man?
It was a great feeling. I mean, it was definitely a blessing. It was a dream come true. Like I said, going back to 14 years old, and because I didn't play in Pop Warner and Pee Wee junior high school like most of the other players. Like I said, my second ninth grade year was when I started playing football. So by the time I got to Penn State, I only had 4 years of playing. So it wasn't like I mastered the game or anything like that. It was just like, all right, I'm going in, I'm redshirting. So by the time I got on the field and was starting as a redshirt freshman, I only played the game for 5 years. So it was a thing that was, how do I ever say it? Not necessarily bittersweet, because it was we all, I'm not knocking nobody. We're not Peyton Manning. We're not Eli Manning. You know what I'm saying? So we all don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback as a dad and everything else. So when my whole thing happened, it was like I was still young, and like for example, I worked so hard to get out of New York that when I was interviewing that year with the Jets, they was like, we had the 3rd pick. I know they ended up trading it to the Saints and stuff like that. But the Saints took Jonathan Sullivan. The Jets ended up taking Dwayne Robertson, because they was both obviously looking for defensive tackles. Well, the Jets, I didn't want to be in New York. I love the team, but I just didn't want to be in New York. I was working hard to get away from New York, The New Orleans Saints, they had Jim Hazard as a coach, and he asked me, I played the 3 technique, and like I said, I only played, basically 9 years for the most part before I turned pro. And here it is, he's telling me, we want you to play nose guard. I'm like, I never played nose guard. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean you want me to be a nose guard? So he was like, well, would you embrace nose guard? And I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'll take whatever, whatever position you guys put me in, I just have to learn it. So I think he thought that I was, a little bit apprehensive to playing the position. And at the time, I didn't accept it because I didn't know that. I was looking like, everyone was talking about Warren Sapp and speed and so on. I took pride in stopping the run. I didn't realize the value of, sacks and stuff like that because I was still early in learning the game and playing the game. So it was just like, all right, well, they call me Grizz. They don't call me that because, I'm sacking quarterbacks. They call me that because I take pride in stopping and run. I looked up to guys like Gilbert Brown and, Romanowski and those guys. I mean, a lot of linebackers, Levon Kirkland and so on, and, Steve Atwater. I look at the guys that played it with attitude. But, obviously the 3 technique, we had some great ones, but at the time, John Randall, Warren Sapp, so it was like, all right, I'm one of these guys, but they weren't my size. but I wasn't a nose guard because I was the size of a nose guard, but